Dr. Elena walked through the shiny corridors of the research center for the first time. The walls were white and clean, and everything looked perfect. She carried her briefcase and felt excited about her new job. This place was famous for studying how the human brain worked and for creating new technologies. As she walked, Elena noticed something strange. People were whispering and pointing toward a corner of the hallway. She looked over and saw a young woman sitting alone on a bench. The woman kept her head down, and Elena could see that her face had many scars. Her skin looked different, almost like it had been damaged by something. "That's Subject 47, said Dr. Johnson, the man showing Elena around. "Don't worry about her. She's just one of our old test cases." The experiment didn't go well. Elena watched as other workers passed by the woman. Some of them laughed quietly. Others made faces of disgust. A few even moved to the other side of the hallway. To avoid walking near her, Elena felt uncomfortable. Seeing this, "What happened to her?" Elena asked. Dr. Johnson shrugged. "Genetic testing gone wrong. It was years ago. Now she just stays here. The boss keeps her around for research, but honestly, most of us think she should be moved somewhere else." Elena couldn't stop looking at the woman. There was something different about what she was seeing, but she couldn't explain it yet, ever. Since her accident as a child, Elena could see things others couldn't. Light looked different to her. Energy patterns appeared around people and objects, and right now, around this woman called Subject 47, Elena was seeing something incredible. Soft, glowing lines seemed to dance in the air around her. They were beautiful, like aurora lights moving in slow waves. Elena blinked hard, thinking maybe she was tired from traveling, but the lights were still there. They pulsed gently, creating patterns that reminded Elena of quantum equations she had studied in college. "Does she have a real name?" Elena asked. Dr. Johnson looked surprised by the question. "I think someone called her Kira once, but we just use her number. It's easier that way." Elena felt sad hearing this. Every person deserved to be called by their name, not treated like an object with a number. Later that day, Elena met the research team. Dr. Rodriguez, the center director, was a man who cared a lot about how things looked to the outside world. He wore expensive suits and always made sure his hair was perfect. "Dr. Elena, welcome to our team," he said with a big smile. "We do very important work here. The government and big companies watch what we do. We need to always look professional." During the team meeting, Elena learned more about their projects. They were working on ways to make human brains work better. They studied people who had special abilities or who had been changed by experiments. "What about Subject 47? Elena asked during a break in the meeting. The room became quiet. A few people started laughing. "Oh, you met the monster," said Dr. Park, one of the senior researchers. "That thing has been here for 10 years. Total waste of space and money." "She's not a thing," Elena said quietly. "She's a person." Dr. Park rolled his eyes. "Look, I know you're new, but you'll understand soon. Some experiments just fail. Her face is so messed up, it makes visitors uncomfortable. She barely talks. And when she does, it's weird nonsense. The kindest thing would be to send her away." Elena felt angry, but tried to stay calm. What if she's not a failed experiment? What if something else is happening? Dr. Rodriguez joined the conversation. "Dr. Elena, I appreciate your fresh perspective, but we've studied her for years. Her DNA was damaged by the early genetic tests. Her appearance scares people. She has no useful abilities. We keep her here because we're responsible for what happened. But don't expect any miracles." That afternoon, Elena decided to visit Kira alone. She found her in the same spot, sitting quietly on the bench. Up close, Elena could see the scars more clearly. They weren't random marks. They formed strange, beautiful patterns across her face and hands. And the glowing energy Elena saw around her was even stronger now. "Hello," Elena said softly. Sitting down nearby, "I'm Elena. I'm new here." Kira looked up, surprised. Her eyes were bright blue and seemed to hold intelligence that others had missed. When she looked at Elena, the energy patterns around her shifted, becoming more colorful. "You?" You're not afraid. Kira's voice was quiet and careful. No, I'm not afraid, Elena said. Why would I be? Kira touched her scarred cheek. Everyone else's. They think I'm ugly. They think I'm broken. Elena felt her heart break a little. I don't think you're broken. I think you might be something amazing that nobody understands yet. For the first time, Kira smiled. It was a small smile, but it made her whole face light up, and in that moment, Elena saw the energy around Kira pulse brighter, like it was responding to her happiness. What do you see when you look at me? Kira asked. Elena thought carefully about her answer. She had learned to be careful about telling people about her special vision. Most people thought she was crazy or lying. I see someone who has been treated badly for no good reason, Elena said. I see someone who might have abilities that nobody has bothered to understand. Kira's eyes filled with tears. You're the first person to talk to me like I'm human in years. They sat together quietly for a few minutes. Elena watched the patterns of light around Kira, trying to understand what they meant. They looked similar to the quantum energy fields she had studied, but much more complex and beautiful. Kira, Elena said finally, that's your real name, isn't it? Yes, but everyone here just calls me by my number. Well, I'm going to call you Kira, and I'd like to be your friend, if that's okay. Kira started crying, not sad tears, but happy ones. I haven't had a friend since before I came here. As Elena walked back to her office that evening, she couldn't stop thinking about what she had seen and felt. The other researchers were wrong about Kira. She wasn't a failed experiment. She was something new, something incredible. The energy patterns Elena saw around her suggested that Kira might have abilities related to quantum physics, the same field Elena specialized in. Elena made a decision. She was going to study Kira properly, with respect and kindness. She was going to prove that appearances could be deceiving, and that what others saw as ugly or broken might actually be beautiful and powerful. But she would have to be careful. The other researchers had already made up their minds about Kira. Dr. Rodriguez cared more about the center's reputation than about understanding the truth. If Elena was going to help Kira, she would have to do it secretly, at least at first. That night, Elena started a private research journal. On the first page, she wrote, Subject 47, Real Name, Kira. Hypothesis. What appears to be physical damage may actually be evidence of unprecedented human evolution. The patterns of scarring suggest adaptation to contain and channel quantum energy fields. Elena closed the journal and looked out her window at the city lights. Tomorrow, she would begin her real work, not just as a researcher, but as someone fighting to prove that being different didn't mean being less than human. She would show everyone that they had been laughing at someone extraordinary. Someone who might hold the key to humanity's future. The story was just beginning, and Elena could feel that everything was about to change. Over the next few weeks, Elena made it her routine to visit Kira every day during lunch break. She would bring two sandwiches and sit with her on that same bench in the hallway. At first, other workers stared and whispered, but Elena didn't care. She was learning something amazing about her new friend. Kira had been at the research center since she was 12 years old. Her parents had died in a car accident, and she had no other family. The government had brought her to the center as part of a program to help orphan children. But instead of finding a new home, she became part of an experiment. They said they were going to make me special, Kira told Elena one afternoon, touching the patterns on her face. The doctors gave me medicine that was supposed to change my DNA. But something went wrong. My face started changing, and everyone got scared. Elena listened carefully, watching the energy patterns around Kira as she spoke. When Kira talked about sad memories, the lights dimmed. When she smiled, they became brighter and moved faster. What did the medicine feel like? Elena asked gently. Like lightning running through my body. Like I was burning from the inside. But also like I was becoming something new. Does that make sense? Elena nodded. It made perfect sense to someone who understood quantum physics. Kira, I need to tell you something about myself. When I was a child, I had an accident. I was exposed to special radiation, and now I can see things others can't see. Kira looked interested. What kind of things? Energy, light patterns. And when I look at you, I see the most beautiful display of energy I've ever witnessed. You're glowing, Kira. You're absolutely glowing with power. For the first time since Elena had known her, Kira looked hopeful. Really? You're not just being nice. I'm a scientist, Kira. I don't say things just to be nice. I'm telling you what I observe. That week, strange things started happening around the research center. Computers would crash when Kira walked by. Lights flickered in the hallways where she spent time. The coffee machine in the break room stopped working completely. After Kira had sat near it for an hour, Dr. Rodriguez was not happy. He called a staff meeting and spoke angrily about contamination and unstable elements in their facility. Elena knew he was talking about Kira, even though he didn't say her name. We need to consider moving Subject 47 to a more secure location, Dr. Rodriguez announced. These equipment failures are costing us money, and our sponsors are asking questions. Elena raised her hand. Sir, have we considered that these might not be random failures? What if there's a pattern we should study? Dr. Park laughed. Elena, you're sweet, but sometimes equipment just breaks. It's not magic. But Elena had been keeping careful notes. The failures weren't random at all. They happened when Kira was emotional, when she was sad, angry, or excited. It was as if her feelings were affecting the world around her in ways that nobody else noticed. That evening, Elena decided to do something risky. She waited until everyone had gone home. Then she went to find Kira. She found her in a small room where she spent her nights. It wasn't really a bedroom, more like a storage closet with a bed. Kira, I want to try an experiment with you, but only if you're comfortable with it. Kira sat up on her bed. What kind of experiment? I want to see if you can control the things that have been happening around here. The computer problems, the lights flickering. I think you might be doing it without knowing. Kira looked scared. But what if I hurt someone? What if I break something important? Elena sat down beside her. We'll be very careful, and I'll be watching with my special vision the whole time. If anything looks dangerous, we'll stop immediately. They went to Elena's laboratory, where she had set up some simple equipment, a computer, some lights, and a few electronic devices. Elena asked Kira to sit in the center of the room. Now, I want you to think about something happy. Elena said softly. Kira closed her eyes and smiled. Elena watched as the energy patterns around her became brighter and started moving in beautiful spirals. Suddenly, all the lights in the room became brighter too, but in a gentle way. Amazing, Elena whispered. Now try thinking about something that makes you a little bit sad. Kira's expression changed, and the energy around her shifted to a deeper blue color. The computer screen flickered, and one of the electronic devices beeped softly. Kira, you're doing it. You're actually controlling energy with your thoughts and emotions. They spent 2 hours doing careful tests. Elena discovered that Kira could make lights brighter or dimmer, affect electronic devices, and even change the temperature in small areas around her. It was like she was connected to the basic forces that make everything work. How's this possible? Kira asked, amazed at what she could do. Elena thought about how to explain it in simple words. You know how everything is made of tiny particles that are always moving and changing. I think the experiment they did to you didn't damage you. It connected you to those particles in a new way. You can influence them with your mind. But why do I look like this? Kira touched her scars again. Elena looked at her carefully with her enhanced vision. Kira, those aren't scars from damage. They're like channels. Pathways for energy to flow through your body safely. Your body adapted to handle incredible power. That's why you look different. Over the next few days, Elena continued her secret research with Kira. She learned that Kira could do even more amazing things. She could make small objects move without touching them. She could sense what was happening in other rooms. Once, she even seemed to know what Elena was thinking before she said it. But they had to be very careful. Other people at the center were getting more suspicious about the equipment failures. Dr. Rodriguez had started talking about getting rid of Kira permanently. Elena also discovered something terrible in the old files. Kira wasn't the first person like this. Over the past 20 years, there have been others, children who showed signs of special abilities after the experiments. But they had all disappeared from the records after a few months. What happened to them? Elena asked Dr. Johnson when she found him alone. He looked uncomfortable. Some things are better left alone, Elena. The center has to make hard decisions sometimes. Elena realized that Kira was in danger. The people running the center didn't want to study her abilities. They wanted to hide them. Maybe they were afraid of what it meant if humans could evolve like this. That night, Elena made a decision. She was going to protect Kira, no matter what it cost her. She started making plans to document everything they had discovered, to prove that Kira was something wonderful, not something to be afraid of. But she also knew that time was running out. Dr. Rodriguez was planning something, and Elena could see the worry in Kira's energy patterns. The beautiful lights around her friend were becoming more unstable, more frightened. We need to be ready for anything, Elena told Kira during their next secret meeting. But remember, you're not alone anymore. Whatever happens, I believe in you. Kira smiled, and for a moment, her energy blazed so bright that Elena had to blink. In that moment, Elena realized that Kira wasn't just special. She might be the most important person on Earth, and Elena was the only one who could see it. Elena knew they were running out of time every day. Dr. Rodriguez looked more annoyed when he saw equipment breaking down around the center. Security guards had started watching Kira more closely, following her wherever she went. Even worse, Elena had overheard conversations about moving Kira to what they called a special containment area. We need to work faster, Elena told Kira during one of their secret evening sessions. But I also need to teach you how to control your abilities better. If you can learn to hide what you can do, maybe we can buy more time. Kira nodded, but Elena could see the fear in her eyes and in the nervous way her energy patterns were moving. Over the past month, Kira had grown stronger. She could now affect electronics from across the room. She could make the temperature change just by thinking about it. Once, when she was really upset, she had made all the lights in an entire hallway flash on and off at the same time. I'm scared. Elena, Kira admitted. What if I hurt someone by accident? Sometimes I feel like there's so much power inside me that I might explode. Elena put a gentle hand on Kira's shoulder. That's why we're practicing. You're not going to hurt anyone. You're learning to be in control. They spent the next hour working on focus exercises. Elena had Kira practice turning a single light bulb on and off without affecting anything else in the room. It was hard work, and Elena could see how much effort it took. Good, Elena encouraged. You're getting much better at this. But their secret sessions were about to be discovered. The next morning, Elena arrived at work to find Dr. Rodriguez waiting in her office with 2 security guards and a man in a black suit she had never seen before. Dr. Elena, please sit down. Dr. Rodriguez said in a cold voice. This is Agent Wilson from the Government Science Division. We need to talk. Elena's heart started beating fast, but she tried to stay calm. What's this about? Agent Wilson opened a folder full of photographs. They were pictures of Elena and Kira together, eating lunch, sitting on the bench, and even some blurry shots of them in the laboratory late at night. You've been conducting unauthorized experiments with Subject 47, Agent Wilson said. This is a serious problem. That individual is considered potentially dangerous. Her name is Kira, Elena said firmly, and she's not dangerous. She's extraordinary. Dr. Rodriguez shook his head. Elena, I'm disappointed in you. We've been monitoring the situation, and we know about the equipment failures. They're getting worse. Yesterday, she caused a complete power outage in the East Wing just by walking through it. Elena realized that Kira's abilities were growing stronger, probably because she was becoming more confident and less afraid. But instead of seeing this as amazing, the people in charge saw it as a threat. We need to place Subject 47 in a special containment chamber, Agent Wilson continued. It's designed to block whatever energy she's producing. For everyone's safety. You can't do that to her, Elena said. Standing up, she's a person. not an object. And if you just listen to what I've discovered, what you've discovered, Dr. Rodriguez interrupted, is that our early assessment was correct. She's unstable and getting more dangerous every day. Elena was escorted out of her office and told to stay away from Kira while they handled the situation. But Elena wasn't going to give up. She waited until lunchtime, then sneaked through the back hallways to find Kira. She found her friend sitting in her small room, crying. The energy around Kira was wild and chaotic, flashing between different colors like a storm. Elena, they said I can't see you anymore. They said I'm dangerous and that I hurt people just by being near them. Elena hugged her friend. That's not true, Kira. You're not dangerous. They're just afraid of what they don't understand. But what if they're right? What if I'm a monster like everyone says? Look at me, Elena said, holding Kira's hands. You are not a monster. You are the most amazing person I've ever met. You have gifts that could help the whole world if people would just listen. As they talked, Elena noticed something new. There were other people in the facility whose energy patterns looked different too. Not as strong as Kira's, but similar. It was like Kira's presence was awakening something in them. Kira, I think what's happening to you is happening to others, too. You're not alone in this. Before Kira could answer, they heard footsteps in the hallway. Security guards were coming. We have to go, Elena whispered, right now. They quietly left Kira's room and headed toward the emergency exit. But as they walked, alarms started going off throughout the building. Elena realized that Kira's emotional state was affecting the entire facility's electrical system. I can't control it, Kira said, panic in her voice. I'm too scared. Yes, you can, Elena said firmly. Remember what we practiced. Focus on one thing at a time. Focus on my voice. Elena guided Kira through the breathing exercises they had worked on. Slowly, the alarms stopped, and the lights stopped flickering. But their escape had been noticed. Dr. Rodriguez's voice came over the facility's speaker system. Security alert. Subject 47 is loose in the building with an unauthorized person. Both individuals should be considered potentially dangerous. Elena felt angry when she heard this. Dangerous? Kira had never hurt anyone. The only danger was from the people who wanted to lock her away and pretend she didn't exist. They reached a storage room where Elena had hidden some supplies earlier. She had hoped they would never need to use them, but she had prepared for this possibility. Elena, where are we going? Kira asked. Somewhere safe, where we can figure out what to do next. But first, I need to show you something. Elena pulled out a tablet computer and showed Kira security camera footage from around the facility. In the videos, they could see other people, maintenance workers, cafeteria staff, even some researchers who were showing signs of unusual abilities. Lights flickered around them. Electronic devices behaved strangely when they were nearby. See? You're not the only one. Kira, something is happening to people all over this place. Maybe all over the world. Kira stared at the videos in amazement. They're like me? Not exactly like you. You're much stronger. But yes, they're changing too. I think you might be the first, but you're not going to be the last. They could hear security guards searching the building, calling out their names. Elena knew they only had a few minutes before they would be found. Kira, I need you to trust me completely. We're going to have to leave this place. It won't be easy. And I don't know exactly what will happen next. But I promise you this. I will never let them lock you away or treat you like you're not human. Kira looked scared but determined. I trust you, Elena. You're the only person who ever believed in me. Elena felt a rush of determination. She was about to give up her career, her normal life, everything she had worked for. But looking at Kira, seeing the incredible person that everyone else dismissed as a failed experiment, Elena knew she was making the right choice. Then let's show them what you're really capable of, Elena said with a smile. Let's show them that what they call ugly and broken is actually beautiful and powerful. As they prepared to leave their hiding place, Elena could see Kira's energy patterns changing. The fear was still there, but now there was something else too. Hope, determination, and a growing understanding of her own worth. The real adventure was about to begin. Elena and Kira moved carefully through the maintenance tunnels beneath the research center. Elena had studied the building plans during her first week at work, never imagining she would need them for an escape. The tunnels were dark and narrow, lit only by small emergency lights that flickered whenever Kira's emotions spiked. "Are you okay?" Elena whispered as they crawled through a particularly tight space. "I think so," Kira replied. But Elena could hear the fear in her voice. Above them, they could hear footsteps and voices as security guards searched the building. "They've checked the cafeteria and the library," came a voice through a radio. No sign of them yet. Elena felt guilty for putting Kira in this situation, but she knew staying would have been worse. The containment chamber Agent Wilson had mentioned was basically a prison designed to cut Kira off from her abilities. Elena had seen the blueprints in Dr. Rodriguez's office. It was a small, windowless room lined with special metal that would block energy. After 20 minutes of crawling, they reached a maintenance room in the basement. Elena had hidden some supplies here earlier: water, food, warm clothes, and most importantly, a laptop computer with files she had secretly copied. "We can rest here for a few minutes," Elena said, helping Kira sit down on an old chair. Kira looked exhausted, but her energy patterns were more stable now. "Elena, why are you doing this for me? You could get in serious trouble." Elena sat down beside her friend. "Because what they're doing is wrong, Kira, and because I've seen what you're truly capable of. You're not a failed experiment. You're proof that humans can become something amazing." Elena opened her laptop and showed Kira the files she had collected. "I've been investigating the center's history. What I found is incredible, but also scary. The files contain records going back 30 years. There have been dozens of people like Kira, children and young adults, who developed special abilities after medical treatments. But according to the records, most of them have been transferred to other facilities and never heard from again." "Where did they go?" Kira asked, looking at the long list of names. "I don't know, but I don't think it was anywhere good," Elena said sadly. "I think this place, and others like it, have been hiding people like you for decades." Elena showed Kira another file, this one containing scientific papers, written by researchers at similar centers around the world. The papers talked about genetic anomalies and unstable mutations, but Elena could read between the lines. They were talking about human evolution. "Look at this," Elena said, pointing to a chart on the screen. "Over the past 50 years, there have been more and more people born with unusual abilities, not just here, but everywhere. The government has been trying to keep it secret." Kira stared at the information in amazement. "There are really that many people like me?" "I think so, and I think you might be one of the strongest ones they've ever found. That's why they're so scared of you." Suddenly, they heard a noise above them. Someone was in the room directly overhead, moving furniture around. "They're getting closer," Elena whispered. "We need to keep moving." Elena had planned their route to lead to the parking garage, where she hoped they could reach her car. But as they climbed up from the basement, Elena realized their escape wasn't going to be that simple. The building was crawling with security guards. Through a small window, Elena could see that there were also black cars outside, government vehicles. This wasn't just about the research center anymore. Someone higher up had decided that Kira was important enough to bring in serious resources. "This way," Elena whispered, leading Kira down a different hallway. But as they moved through the building, something unexpected started happening. The other people Elena had noticed, the ones showing signs of developing abilities, were acting strangely. A janitor they passed in the hallway looked directly at Kira and nodded, as if he knew who she was. A woman from the cafeteria stepped out of a doorway and pointed toward an exit. Mouthing the words that way silently, "Elena," Kira whispered, "I think they're trying to help us." Elena realized that Kira's presence was having an effect on these people. Maybe being near her was making their own abilities stronger. Or maybe they just recognized something in her that they felt in themselves. They made it to the main hallway, but there were security guards at every exit. Elena was starting to panic when she felt Kira grab her hand. "Elena, I have an idea." But you might think it's crazy. Right now, crazy might be our only option. Kira took a deep breath. What if I don't try to hide my abilities? What if I use them to help us get out? Elena looked around at all the electronic systems in the building, the security cameras, the door locks, the alarm systems. Are you sure you can control it? If something goes wrong, I won't hurt anyone, Kira said. With surprising confidence, I promise. But I think I can create enough confusion to get us out of here. Elena nodded. Okay, I trust you. Kira closed her eyes and concentrated. Elena watched as her energy patterns became more intense and focused than she had ever seen them. Then, all at once, every electronic system in the building started acting up. Security cameras turned off and on. Randomly, door locks clicked open and closed. The elevators started moving between floors on their own. Phones rang throughout the building. Even the coffee machines and vending machines started making noise. The security guards were completely confused. Their radios filled with static, and their electronic key cards stopped working. In the chaos, Elena and Kira walked calmly toward the nearest exit. "Stop right there," shouted Agent Wilson, appearing suddenly with two guards. But before they could reach Elena and Kira, something amazing happened. The janitor, the cafeteria worker, and several other employees stepped out of doorways and blocked the path between. The agent and the two friends, they didn't say anything, but their message was clear. They were protecting Kira. "What's happening?" Agent Wilson demanded. Elena looked around and realized the truth. Kira's presence, her confidence, her willingness to use her abilities openly was inspiring the others. They were no longer afraid to show that they were different too. Elena and Kira reached the exit and stepped outside into the cool evening air. But as they walked toward the parking lot, Elena saw something that made her heart sink. There were more black cars, more agents, and they were surrounded. Dr. Elena and Subject 47. Came a voice through a megaphone. "Please stop where you are. We just want to talk." Kira squeezed Elena's hand. "What do we do now?" Elena looked at her brave friend, then at the agents surrounding them, then back at the building where more people like Kira were still trapped and hidden. "Now," Elena said with determination, "we stop running and start fighting back. Not with violence, but with truth. It's time the world knew what's really been happening here." Elena pulled out her phone and started recording a video. "My name is Dr. Elena Vasquez, and I'm a quantum physicist. I want to tell you about someone amazing that I've met, and about a conspiracy that's been hiding people like her for decades." As Elena spoke, Kira stood beside her, no longer trying to hide her abilities. The energy around her was visible now even to people without Elena's special vision, a soft, beautiful glow that made her look like an angel. For the first time in her life, Kira wasn't ashamed of being different. She was proud of who she was, and ready to show the world that being different could be beautiful. The agents moved closer, but Elena kept recording, and Kira kept glowing, and both of them knew that everything was about to change forever.